It's like,
Trying to get this mic down. Yeah, I just wanted to make sure it was actually, yeah.
yeah, like the audio is coming in. Nah, it sounded great. It sounded
Cool,
great.
cool.
Yeah. I almost think that it'll be like as far as the audio version of the podcast, I feel like it'll be, you know, all
About the
good.
same. About
Yeah,
the
yeah,
same.
yeah.
And
About the same. Yeah, for real.
yeah, that's cool.
Can you hear
Cool,
yourself in
cool.
your head?
I can hear myself to in my air.
What
Not
the
I don't know what's going on as far as my earbuds go, but I know I'm talking, so
Okay.
I trust you.
Okay. Damn, I feel like it's bad pressure. I'm like, nah, I'm pretty sure it sounded great. It sounded great. All right, you ready?
Yeah. Yeah, let's get into it.
Let's get right into it. Let's get right into it. You feel me? We about to.
Hmm.
Oh my goodness. I know. I know. I already know it. I already know what they saying, Kim. Where
Hmm.
you been?
Hmm. Hmm. We've been quiet. We've been
Where you
pretty quiet.
been? We've been radio silent. Where you been? I know. And we coming in here with a whole nother format. All of a sudden we in
Yeah.
virtuals. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? We out here Zoom meeting.
A lot of answers to be had here.
Yeah, yeah. There's so many answers to be had, but like I think just understand that us doing the Zoom right now is a testament to how badly we wanted to get something out to you guys. You know what I mean? Get something out to you
Yeah.
guys to talk to you about what on earth has been going on, what's been happening, where we've been, and honestly, what we got in store.
Yeah.
What we got in store. We got homework. Do we do homework or we just say,
Yeah,
we
yeah. I
just
mean, yeah, we can
get
still do the
past
homework. They still gonna be on YouTube. They still gonna be on all audio streaming platforms. So make sure y'all like and subscribe. Make sure you also give us a 5-star rating if you're listening on your favorite audio streaming platform. Your 5-star ratings help us get this information out to everybody else. And help us tell and share these great things that we've got coming ahead. So I know that it's been quiet for a little bit, but I'm telling y'all, one step back, 3 steps forward.
Mm,
That
good stuff
is the
indeed.
mantra. Yes.
All
Mm.
right. So
So where you been?
that's
First
what I'm
off,
about
no,
to
no,
say.
no.
Where
Let the people know why we ain't even in person, right? You know what I'm saying, man? I wanted the pod with you in person. I wanted to
I
give you a
did.
hug. It's been 3 weeks.
It's been 3 weeks. It's been 3 weeks. You feel me? But like, I'm not gonna hold you. I was working hard. I was moving at 100, Kim. I was moving at 100. God woke me up every morning and said, "Walk in your purpose."
Mm,
And I was
mm,
doing that. You know what I'm saying? I was
mm.
doing that. I was doing that. And I got all the way through the program, and I'm gonna go into more details about what that program was like. But like I legitimately like the day I was traveling back to San Jose, what was supposed to be a 4 hour van ride turned into a 9 hour van ride. You feel me? Yeah,
Ooh,
fun
Jesus.
fact for you, okay? There's one road in and one road out, okay? The mountains. And if you get stuck, you stuck.
Oof,
You know?
oof. Damn,
You
line.
stuck. You know what I'm saying?
Instant line.
Yo, I will say though, we ended up getting stuck at the base of a mountain, right? Right next to a
Yeah.
waterfall.
Mm.
I am not even gonna hold you. God was on something where he was like, yo, that is if there was anywhere to
If
get
there was
stuck,
gonna be a place,
it
if
was
there was
gonna be
gonna
a
be a
place.
place.
Man, I tell you, this place was so decked out, it already had shops set up at the base of the waterfall. That's how much I was like, is this a tourist attraction
Yeah, it
or
was
a
like, oh
car
yeah, no,
accident?
no,
Because I really don't,
traffic stop, traffic stop.
you know. So, that 9 hour ride, it was super intense. But as soon as I got back to San Jose that night, I got so sick. I was so
Dang.
sick. I was so sick. I thought I had some Costa Rican cold that I'd have never heard of in my life. You know what I'm saying? I was sick. I was dehydrated. Like it was not good. You know what I
Oh
mean? So
man.
yeah, yeah. So I had to do a lot of refilling the fluids and stuff like that. But when I got back to the States, I ended up going to the doctor, found out I had COVID.
Mm.
Yeah, that thing still
The
rearing its
vid,
ugly head.
the
You know
vid.
what I mean?
So
Yeah,
we
the
got
big
rid of
old
that.
Nah, nah, and this was a new strain. I ain't had this one.
Oh.
Yeah, I didn't have this one. This was one of the new strains. This is Costa Rican COVID. This is a different.
Oh man.
This one was cooking in the heat. I ain't gonna hold you. Like this one was. It changed me as a person. I came back here and I was still sick. You know what I'm saying? So we were supposed to link up and do the podcast in person, but
Yeah.
although I am physically doing much better, so for anyone listening, I am in well spirits. I'm trying to get right
Yeah.
back into everything or whatever,
Can't
but
even tell.
yeah, couldn't even tell. You know what I mean? Couldn't even tell. You could have if you had talked to me that night though. I I was not, you know what I mean? Fever, all that with the sweat. It was just it wasn't it.
Man.
Yeah, yeah. So, and I was concerned, you know what I mean? I was just making sure I ain't had no, Central American,
Yeah,
you leave the
nah.
country, you know what I mean? You leave the
Asking
country,
questions.
you
Yeah.
could end up with some, and there's a language barrier. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So it's like,
Even,
yo, I need the thing for the
you know what I mean? Like, achoo, really? No. You know what I mean? Google Translate was my best friend out there in them streets.
I believe it.
So
Oh man.
so that's why we on the Zoom, but we like at the end of the day, like we weren't able to shoot the podcast like we had planned to because as soon as I got back, I had to quarantine, and I was
Yeah.
like, we you got to figure out some kind of way, and you was like, yo, we got to do the Zoom, and I was like, you
Yeah.
know what, let's
We
do
just
it,
gotta figure
yeah,
it
let's
out. We
do it,
just gotta
so
figure it
we can
out.
get something out to the people. So that's where we at. But understand, like, yo, the mission don't stop, bro. The mission don't stop, yo. Ain't a flu in the world, you know what I mean? And the virus or strain gonna stop us from getting back into it. You feel me? We are the life we chose.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
So 3 weeks. It's been an
3 weeks.
eventful 3 weeks.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure you got stories for days. Um, Man, how do you want to start? Like, where do you want to? Do you want to take them on the beginning? Like, how do you do?
Take you
Where
guys on a
we want to
journey.
go?
Yeah, I think you know
Yeah,
what.
let's
Yeah,
dive
first
into
off,
it a little bit.
I gotta appreciate anybody who's willing to go through this conversation because this is gonna be a different kind of episode. This is very much a recap of what my life has
Yeah,
been like for the last 3 weeks. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
But if you guys, we talked about this in the New Year's. I announced it in the New Year's episode that I was going on my second artist residency, which was to Limon, Costa Rica, right? And that's the Caribbean coast of Costa Rica. And I was going out there with a program called Next Level, right? So Next Level is a hip hop cultural diplomacy program, right? Where they
yeah.
essentially bring hip hop artists and artists that are in the hip hop culture to communities around the world. We were the first residency that was going out this year. They host I believe 5 residencies a year, so they have, different areas. Like even while we were out in Costa Rica, they had another team of artists in Paris, France. Right?
Mm,
So it's like, they basically, bring this team of like 4 artists together, 4 or 5 artists sometimes, and they go off to a different area and they do an academy and they do workshops, right? So in Limon I was hosting a workshop for MCs and spoken word artists. So it was a
mm,
creative writing workshop, it was a performance workshop, recording workshop. So that I was hosting that academy. It was a 10-day academy. We hosted it at the University of Costa Rica, and I had 10 kids. I had 10 kids. I say kids, but like, my classroom was ages between 15 and 34. So I say kids, but like, really they, everybody was everywhere. You know what I mean? They 20, 30 years old inside of the room and stuff like that. But I went out there and I met some beautiful people, man. I met some
yeah,
beautiful souls, yo. Like the team, I came there as the MC. Shout out
mm-hmm,
to KJ, Cara Janelle. She came in as the dancer. Shout out to Rockmore, who came in as the producer and awesome sound engineer. Shout out to Exacto, who was the fourth man wrap up on the team. Exacto is a beatboxer from New York, right? So he came in to do
mm,
beatboxing classes. And then we had our site manager, Pinky, who is a rapper from Chicago. And then we also had our videographer, Lara, who is a director and filmmaker from New York City. So, we came there as like this 6-person team, and we
yeah,
each like had our own classes. So you could have gone to the beat making class, you could have gone to the beatboxing class, the MC class, and like, you work for 10 days to come out with whatever you can produce. And my kids, we went ham we came out with a project in 10 days. We made an EP.
Wow.
Um, we made an EP, and like it was crazy. We shot videos in the room. We got a lot of energy inside that space. It was like it's I can't even truly put into words. I'm hopefully gonna be working on like all the stuff that I documented from the trip, like turning that into something so I can
Yeah.
share it with you guys on social media, whatever. But like it was absolutely life changing.
Yeah.
I never really been in a space as an artist where I felt as valued as I did in that space because the area of Limon, it's a very underserved area. The
Mm.
Caribbean coast in particular is the area with the largest concentration of African descendants in Costa Rica. So essentially, all the black people live in this area, right? And just like, through urban planning, through the actual, demographic of the space, there's a lot of poverty, there's a lot of drug trafficking, there's a lot of violence in the area. So they don't have a lot of these opportunities. So them being able to work on a MacBook for the first time, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Or teaching them how to record on GarageBand, or like even working with them to develop their confidence to write a verse and then perform it in front of the class was like
Yeah.
it was, you can't really you walk away from that just like feeling like a whole different human being, you know,
Yeah. I can
because
imagine.
yeah, just a whole
I
different human being.
Yeah, I definitely can imagine now. This isn't our first conversation about, your
Yeah.
experience and everything, but I do think it's really important. You mentioned value, but before we get into values, I want to talk a little bit about something you mentioned. I think you posted it like when you first got out there. And
Mm,
you mentioned that this was a hip hop retreat in some senses, like this come together was about like the creation of hip hop and teaching hip hop and being in this space. I want to ask you a little bit about some of your fears or uh question marks around stepping into something new, because you don't necessarily identify
yeah.
as a music artist, but like you stepped into that space and offered yourself and came out of it with this mind-blowing experience. So I
Yeah.
want to talk to specifically people who are very locked in, in a box of like, this is what I am
Hmm.
as a creative, like this is it. Like, what was it like for you branching out of that and stepping into something new?
Essential. You know what I mean? I live a life where I always keep telling myself that my art is like water and you have to treat it like water, you know?
Mm,
And I think in a lot of ways, like the if you box yourself in, you're gonna lose out on a lot of opportunities. Like if I said to myself, like, oh, I'm just a spoken word poet, or like I'm a poet, so like I can't rap, you know what I mean? Then
yeah,
that would be limiting myself. And it's like I don't also consider myself just a poet. Like
yeah,
I tell stories. How I tell those stories, I mean, I'm open to how that happens.
yeah,
I'm going to do whatever it is because at the end, the thing is like the end goal for me is not to become a professional poet. I know I've
yeah,
said that in the past before, but the end goal isn't to be a professional poet. The end goal for me and anything that I'm doing is to feel like I want to create and feel like whatever I create has value. So how
yeah,
that happens changes. You know what I mean? And being flexible in how to get to the destination is how I'm able to, find opportunities like next level and be like, "Oh, that may not be what I'm like, used to, but I know I want to travel. I want to make money. I want to be introduced to other people. I want to do those things." And it's like how I get there is like, okay, I know that I'm capable of doing that. That's what I'm going to do. And I was scared. You know what I mean? I was scared
yeah,
from the moment that I applied to the program. I mean, I had this conversation with my team, early on in the residency. I also had this
yeah,
conversation with the director of the program. You know what I mean? Because I know even for them it was a conversation too. Because
yeah,
the thing about next level is that the people who are in the program, right? These I was one of the youngest artists in the program. I'm 30 years old. I'm about to be 31. I was one of the youngest artists in the entire program, right?
got it.
So just to put into context, a lot of the artists that are in the program are like like they're beyond mid-career artists, right? So
Yeah.
they're artists who are like in some way, shape, or form, they are the creme de la creme of hip hop. You know what I mean? Like these people have, from the origins of hip hop, these people have toured with major artists. These people are still touring to this day and doing
Yeah.
this as a living, 45, 50 years old. So, it was, I know that it was a conversation, like, even selecting me for the fellowship, where it's like, yo, I feel like she could do it, you know what I mean? But like,
Yeah.
yeah, I wonder how it's gonna be or whatever. And I think honestly, that pressure is what fueled me. The pressure of
Mm.
knowing, like, when I had orientation, because you got to keep in mind, when I do residencies or when residencies happen, they're not a quick thing. So I found out I was going to Costa Rica last year. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? If I ever even, about Dubai, I found out about that almost a year and a half, 2 years before I was actually going. International
Yeah.
residencies, they don't happen, you find out and then you go through some prep period or some logistics or whatever.
Yeah.
So, when I had orientation and I was seeing the people who was in the room, like that could have scared a lot of people. And in a lot of ways, I'm like, yo, what the, can I handle this? Can I do this? But in a lot of ways, it gave me the confidence, because if they selected me, you must see something in me that matches the energy of these people who've been rapping for, 30 years. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So I need to also be able to see that in myself. So I gained a lot of that confidence. And the song that I came out there with was Dream Big. I'm actually
Yeah.
gonna I gotta debut that. I don't know when I'm gonna do it, but I gotta debut Dream Big, because that ended up being the anthem that kind of brought me out there to Costa Rica. It became
Yeah.
the anthem for my team, and it was the first song that I performed. And when I performed that song, for the opening day of the academy, and I'm performing to people who don't even speak the same language as me. And by the time I'm
Mm.
done with the hook, I get dream big from my heart, and they singing it back with me. You know what I mean? They turn it up with me. They like feeling the
Yeah.
energy. And that's when I think it was like, ultimately and truly, I learned right then and there, like, regardless of it being poetry or hip hop, like, I brought me, like, the energy of who I am to the space. And that's what I was using to make it work. Is that, like,
Mm.
I don't, it doesn't matter what tools I use. It could be poetry, it could be rap music, it could be video, it could be whatever. I could use these tools, but I'm doing that all to express myself and what makes me uniquely
Yeah.
me, and my energy. And that's what really, really pushed it forward.
Mm. Mm.
Yeah.
Man, that's
That's a
insane. Let's talk a little bit about values, because you said you said a couple of times that you felt valued out there. Like, what was the difference of the experience of being in this new location versus having been, we've been doing this for years at
yeah.
home, and I feel like the experience that you had out there felt like incredibly different. Like, can you talk to that? Can you like shed light on that a little bit?
Honestly, it was supportive, bro. I think, like, I couldn't have done Dream Big in a club and got the love that I did, the way that I got from those kids on opening day. And that's simply just because, like, um every the thing, over here on the East Coast, like, everybody's a rapper, or everybody's a
Yeah.
podcaster, or everybody got something. So it's like everybody's trying to be famous in some way, shape, or
Mm.
form. Everybody's not even just famous, everybody's trying to get attention. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Everybody's trying to grab somebody's attention. So it's like, to be another person with another song, like, it wouldn't have landed the same way. You know what I mean? But I
Mm.
think that the reason why the value changed, right, was because I was a representation to a lot of these kids that they never seen before, you know? One was that I think, like, fundamentally, before I even say a word, and this is what I mean by, like, who I am, before I even say a word, I am a black queer woman, right?
Mhm.
Already off bat, before you even, like, hear a word that comes out of my mouth, before I even say anything, I know that there was, because I had people in my class who were, like, young and coming out. I
Yeah.
know before I even say a word, I know she looked at me and was like, "Oh, I see myself in her." You know what I
Representation.
mean? That
Yeah.
representation, you know what I mean? So, like, off rip, it's like there's a value to me being in the space, because I'm a professional artist. And it's like, as you aspire to be what you are, like you could say to yourself, oh, I can be black, queer, woman, and travel the world and do this before I ever even say, before I ever perform, you know?
Mm.
And that's like, that's what I mean by like having that value. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's a value. I'm, that isn't the same in, in Highland Park. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
Yeah.
people didn't see me before. The value has changed because I'm not as rare, you know? And I think
Mm.
that that's like an element to it. You know what I mean? And at the same time, like, because the area was underserved, it means that they also didn't get, there weren't a lot of programs like this. There wasn't a lot of opportunities like this. There wasn't a lot of spaces where they could do this. You know what I mean? Like, recording studios, really don't exist, or they might not be the safest places for you to go. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like, so these were dreams. These were just things that it's like they heard about, but they couldn't, they didn't have access to the technology too. Because again, like I was teaching my students how to use a Mac for
Mm.
the first time. Like literally, I didn't
Wow.
even realize how difficult using a Mac was until I had to
Yeah.
teach somebody how to use it. And they were trying to click it, and I'm like, no, okay, you gotta press down on,
Slide and press.
yeah, slide, and then yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't even, I take it for granted. I was sitting here
You
like,
don't think about it like that's not, yeah.
I don't even think about it like that. But then, I mean, I pulled out the computer. Oh, what? Astounded. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? Astounded by that. You know what I'm saying? But it's like, but they were so hungry. They were so
Yeah.
hungry. They was like, oh, word, like, you know what I'm saying? Like they were literally saying at the US embassy that, right before we left, they was like, listen, one of the hardest things is like we gonna get people to, get into the classes, but it's gonna be keeping them there. Because at the end of the day,
Mm.
like these people, they gotta work for their work and put food on the table for their families and stuff like that. So it's like, them staying in the class is gonna be something difficult. I
It's
kid you not.
detrimental to the, yeah.
I kid you not, we had 100% retention rate. They never seen a
Wow.
program like that. Never seen a program like that.
Wow.
My kids was there.
Mm.
They
And that
was
just
there.
yeah, that speaks to the energy of you, of your team, of how y'all
Yeah.
came together and collaborated. What would you
They was
say is
there.
like how did that relationship formulate? Was it like once you guys got out there, or were you already building the relationships and network with your team ahead of time?
So the team, you do team meetings, right? So that's what I'm talking about. Like as soon I found out, I knew I was gonna be going international last year. I didn't know where I
Yeah,
was going. Right?
got
That
it.
was your, yeah. So that sometimes you may not, you just be finding little pieces out. Hey, Queena, you're going overseas. I don't know what sea and where over, but you know, I don't even know when it's gonna happen. You know what I'm saying? So it wasn't. So you got to kind of be open. So I didn't find out I
Yeah.
was my location. I found out I was going in April, May, but then I didn't find out about
Yeah.
location until November, December. You know what I mean? So
Mm.
that is distance, right? So once you do that, then you start having team meetings. So we had team meetings, you know what I mean? Like maybe like once a month. We were just like doing things to prep to before we go. But honestly, we were all living our lives. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I was already, we were heavy in the podcast. I was living my
Yeah.
life. It was very much like I got to situate what's going on here before I ever think about what's going on in Costa Rica. But
Yeah.
what's crazy is that once we actually got out there, my first day inside the classroom, I was terrified. You know what I mean? I never ran a
Mm.
class before. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I also, you're looking at me like I'm a rapper. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, I'm about to teach all these. You know what I mean? And like, and luckily, like that performance happened when I did Dream Big, and they like believed in me. They was like, oh, she's gonna teach
Yeah.
me how to do that. You know what I mean? Bet. You know what I mean? And I think like that first day I was scared. I was like trying to talk to him, trying to figure out what was going on or whatever. And I was really scared when I left that day because I'm like, I got 10 days. What am I gonna do with him? Like, how am I gonna teach him?
Mm.
And the second day I came in, I sat down in front of the class or whatever, and I was like, I got a piece of paper. And I ripped up the piece of paper and I gave everybody a sheet of paper. I'm like, all right, everybody write something about yourself. You know what I mean? Everybody write something about yourself. I'm gonna put it in a hat and we're gonna guess who it is, right? Just to get to
Yeah.
know each other, like icebreakers or
Yeah.
whatever the case may be. So it was like in that moment that like they learned about me, they learned about their classmates. We was joking and laughing and stuff like that. And then we like, all right, now that that's what what I mean, we gotta get closer
You
with each other.
establish, yeah.
Yeah, I asked him like, "What do you want to learn? Like, what is it that you want to get out of this? Because whatever it is you want to get out of it, that's what we gonna do. You know what I mean? You want to record your song, you want
Mm.
to record your thing, you want to write, you want to gain confidence. What is it that you trying to do?" And I went to every single student and did that. And that's what we worked on for 10 days. And then every one of those 10 days, when we came into the class, we did the fact inside of a hat. And every day we learned something new about somebody inside the room. And we used that to craft the music, you know what I mean, that we wanted to
Mm.
write. You know, we learned that one of the students, she loves Young MA, right? She loves Young MA. You know what I mean? She wants to rap Young MA all day long, you know what I'm saying? But it's because she likes money, she likes family, she likes, you know what I mean, like loyalty, and that's what she ended up writing
Yeah.
her song about. You know, we had another
Mm.
guy who was corny and romantic. Guess what? He wrote a song about being corny and romantic. You know what I'm saying? So, and
Mm.
it was like, yeah, man, they really touched my heart, for real, for real. They really touched my heart
I,
on a level I never even thought.
I honestly, in a lot of ways, I feel like that's something that's like there's magic in knowing, I guess, or like in having less of a structure because
Yeah,
had you gone in there like, all right, I'm a rapper, I've been rapping for 20 years, this is how you do it, this is how you structure a verse, like it was like, nah, you were like, what do you want, like what do
yeah,
you want, like you going into a space and asking a person what do you want to get out of this says to me that you care about how this thing impacts me,
yeah,
and that in itself just puts so much more energy behind their willingness to participate, their willingness to want to be a part of it, because it's like,
yeah.
no, I get to be me in this space, and you value that. It wasn't like I'm gonna come in here and tell you how
Hmm.
to. It was
Be
like, no,
yeah,
no, no, I can't tell you how to be you. Look, all I'm gonna do is say, listen, listen, who are you? Who are you?
you
All
know
right,
what
cool.
I
Throw some words. This rhymes,
mean?
but like it's like really you gave it was no structure. You gave them space to be them, and
Yeah,
that allowed them to see, I think their value the same way that, that experience taught you your value. And so I
absolutely.
think that the reciprocation, rather than like you
That's what.
talking
Yeah,
at them, it was a
yeah,
reciprocation of energy, and that was
yeah.
magical.
That was it was crazy because one of the I did a song with my students, right? It was
Yeah.
called El Momento, right? The moment, right? And they wrote a song called The Moment, just basically about let's turn up the music, let's live in the moment. There's no border that separates us. And that song
Mm.
was a smash, bro. When I tell you
Mm.
everybody just jumping, screaming, lose yourself. Like, you know what I mean? We
Mm.
lost ourselves when we performed that for the final show. But
Wow.
and you know, one of the lines in the song that I wrote that I was just like, I was supposed to bring them lessons, but now they trying to teach me. You know what I mean? And it's like, and
Mm.
my kids would like repeat that line or whatever. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, try to teach me. I was like, yeah, you got it, you know? And I think it's just, what's crazy too is that my students poured into me, but it's not just my students, it was my team. Like,
Yeah.
the thing about it is, and I was, by God's grace, and I told this to the director too, because I don't know, we thought he did some kind of magic trick to put us, the four artists that went on that trip, mwah, chef's
Perfect.
kiss. Chef's
Mm.
kiss, because one is that we were all willing to try,
Yeah.
which is what makes it the difference. Because if you got one person who's like, oh, I ain't trying to do that, or I ain't, no, that's too much,
Yeah.
you gonna mess up the whole vibe. Everybody was
Mm.
on it. Everybody was like, if KJ was going up the dance, we hyping her.
Yeah.
We was going in. You feel me? If as soon as he start spitting, you know what I'm saying, we right behind the exacto. Ah, you know what I mean? Whatever it was, because like at the end of the day, like no matter what the audience, was feeling, we were enjoying ourselves, which made the
Yeah.
audience want to enjoy the show too. We went there,
Yeah.
like without even like we didn't have that conversation for real. We just all
Mm.
knew that we was like, oh, we gonna hype each other up. We're gonna be
Yeah.
here to support each other. You know what I mean? Because we are all magicians. We are geniuses at our craft. You know what I mean? The
Mm.
simple fact that like Exacto, he makes sounds with his mouth. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And they flew him across the world. You know what I mean? To make sound like that's crazy. KJ been dancing since she
Yeah.
was a child. You know what I mean? Since she was like, since the moment she could start walking, she been dancing. traveling the
Yeah.
world doing this stuff or whatever. You feel me? Rockmore's over there at the symphony. You know what I'm saying? Like you feel it?
Yeah.
And it's crazy because it's like we were each like there and we were there to support each other. So like that made all the difference because I had the academy, right? So you do academy for 10 days, but even during the academy and on the weekends you have other events. So we were, we went out to a jam session over in the local community. That was the day I became Costa Rican. Um I became Costa Rican that day. I was dancing with the people. I was out here with hot
Yeah, I
feet.
saw you.
Yeah, yeah. I am a Cuban Costa Rica. And
Yeah.
I was turning up. You know what I'm saying? I was turning up. In fact, I'm gonna like, all right, that might be too much. All right, don't even worry about it. But but yeah, that was the day I became Costa Rican. And then like we even performed at a nightclub at
Yeah.
an event, you know what I mean, called okay, we got 10 minutes left. All right. So at an event that we had called Afro Chill. That shit was crazy too. I never
Yeah.
performed in a club before. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Never performed in a club before, bro. There was a song called Pura Vida, right? That I had wrote when I was out there, right? I made a song called Pura Vida, and it was crazy because that night I was just like, oh, I gotta get this through. I gotta finish this up or whatever. So I rush home, I leave my team, and I'm like, I gotta record. I made a whole studio inside of the hotel room. I was there
Yeah.
for maybe like 30 minutes. I got to knock on the door. I open up my door, my whole team standing there. All three bodies, like five bodies. They was like, "What you doing?" I was like, "Well, come in then." So they come inside and I start like, going through the verse or whatever, and they're like, "Yo, Queena, that song is crazy." So we got that whole thing together, yo. We had the videographer sang on it and everything. Bro,
Yeah.
I recorded that song and I performed it like a night later at Afro
Damn.
Chill at an event there or whatever,
Fire.
Puerto Vida. You know what
Fire.
I mean? And it became the anthem of the trip. The anthem of the trip, bro. And that was like what's crazy is that I did that song out there, but that actually was also the song that we used to close the final show. So the last thing on that
Ah.
stage was Pura Vida. We got a feature from a Costa Rican artist on it, and then we also had the videographer sing on it, the filmmaker sing on it too. So it was like everyone in the room knew the words. By
Mm.
the time the residency was over, and that's the kind of love that like that changed me. That changed me.
Yeah.
Like I've never had people sing my words. I
Yeah.
know when they talk about stuff like that, like sing your word, yo. Pura vida en Costa
It
Rica.
feel different.
It was different, bro. It was different.
Wow.
It was
Oh my
different. And
God.
it all came together.
So is that what we gotta do? We gotta leave America to see our value. Where what we gotta do? Tell the people. What's the secret?
The see I think you know what it is? I don't know if it's leaving America, but it certainly is leaving your environment. It is
Mm.
certainly leaving your environment. Now,
Yeah.
that environment change could happen physically, mentally,
Mm-hmm.
spiritually. You know what I mean? I
Mm-hmm.
think that physical change is probably the most effective simply because you can't do anything but be 10 toes
Be
wherever you are.
different. Yeah.
Yeah, like I couldn't be the same person in Costa Rica because I wasn't with the same people. These were all new experiences. These were all new people.
Yeah.
Like I have to interact. I have to be, open and receive because I'm not in my land. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And I'm also
Yeah.
dependent on a lot of people because I don't speak the language of this land. You know what I mean?
Mm.
So there was a lot to that. So what I will say though is that, the real secret is that you need to leave your environment because, we talked about this before, is that like and this is a very common story. If you were to go to get a water bottle, inside of the dollar store, it's gonna be $1.25 now because of the whole
Yeah.
situation. Right?
Yeah.
It's gonna be $1.25, you grab yourself a water bottle at the dollar store. But if you go to the airport, that same bottle of water is gonna be $6.99. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's not the water that changes, it's the environment, right? And I
Mm.
think that wholeheartedly, and the reason why I'm coming back with a different energy is because those people poured into me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
In a way where they were showing me like you are valuable. You
Mm.
are valuable and this is how you could be of value to people. And that was something
Mm.
that I truly have never experienced before. You know what I
Ooh.
mean? Like I know I've made impact, you know what I mean? And I continue to do that, but it's just something where it's like to be, I was, and I'm gonna be 100 with you, bro. I was a rock star for 2.5 weeks. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? I was a rock star.
Yeah.
Like I had, not only was I
Big
there with
energy.
not only was I there with my band, but we also had a tour manager. You know what I mean? You know how
Nice.
dope that is, bro? We was VIP in the club, like, and the moment we all got tired, I'm like, yo, Pink, I'm ready to go. And she calling the, you know what I mean? She calling the bus.
Handling it.
She
Handling it.
handling the hand.
Ah.
I didn't have to worry about nothing, yo. She hit me in the group
Mm.
chat. All right, we got dinner, 8:30, meet up at the bottom. We got the I ain't had to worry about nothing. You know what I'm saying? She was on it.
Yeah.
She was on it. So it was like bro, you can't, there was so many levels. You know what
Mm.
I mean? And I never experienced that before, honestly and truly. And I told my team that too, because I'm like, yo, I don't know if y'all do this on the regular, but
It's a
I,
little new to,
I'm gonna
yeah.
need this. I'm gonna need this in my
I
life.
need more of this energy.
I'm
Yeah.
How you gonna pour into me like this? Fly me halfway across the world, and you paying me to do it.
Yeah.
You paying me to do it, and I get paid good money doing that shit. I was like, oh my god. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
No,
Oh
you
my
you
god.
see it now. You see it now. You
I
can't
see it.
unsee it.
I cannot unsee
You
it.
cannot
It is,
unsee it.
yeah.
So
I'm
when
gonna
you
be
come
100.
back, yeah,
Yeah, I'm gonna
coming
be
back
100
is a
with you.
different energy.
Yeah. So that's why we also got to let them know, right? With the way that this podcast is going to follow the same trajectory. All right. This podcast gonna follow the same
Yeah.
trajectory. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be 100 with you, bro. If any of you guys have met us before, we are not the same.
Yeah.
I don't know what version,
Yeah.
yo. You don't talk to Q2 Queena like you was talking to Q1. Like they not the same Queena. All right. This isn't also going to be the same podcast. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
we was talking, after PodCon, after everything that happened with Costa Rica, after like every one
Yeah.
of these signs that's been coming for us, like, bro, it's really about us stepping into that power, yo. Stepping into that
Yeah.
power. And now that, like, God really put the battery in my back and gave me that confidence, I feel like that was the missing piece to the puzzle for real. I feel like that was
Yeah.
the missing piece. Like God was trying to, like, he's been showing me like, yo, this is the vision, this is the way it looked. But to live it, to experience it, and to like exist in it, four walls, and like, really show
Yeah.
me what I
It
could
was like, yo,
do.
this is what it looks like when you
This is what it looks
fully.
like when you
Mm-hmm.
fully step into yourself. Like all the principles we talk about in this podcast, we're not,
Yeah.
like, again, we not just living it. And I'm
Yeah.
telling you right now, bro, if you step into it, if you start having
Mm-hmm.
difficult conversations, if you going after
Mm-hmm.
what you value, if you like,
Mm-hmm.
if you focusing that attention and doing the consistency, if you treating your art like water, being flexible,
Yes.
bro,
Yes.
not a thing in the world. Not a thing in the world gonna stop us. And honestly, like, if you in the way, you about to get ran over, trampled. So,
Oh my God. I feel like so hard because I see we got 3 minutes left.
yeah, I know. Yeah, we do.
I'm
We
like,
do.
damn, I want to so many. We could talk about fears. We could talk about overcoming
Yeah, we can talk
obstacles.
about it all. Should we stop
It
it
was
and
so
stop it
many.
and start?
Ah,
Because I don't want to,
ah.
like, I don't want to go too crazy. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because we don't.
How long was this one?
This one, I mean, it had to be close to 40.
Shit.
Yeah, it had it.
Is it
It
gonna be a
got
part one, part two?
I mean, yeah, maybe that's the case. If we do that, does that mean like we just get the
I
second
mean,
half of
damn.
the episode?
How?
I feel like we're gonna have to do the second half because we got 2 minutes.
All right. Yeah, yeah. We gotta wrap this one up. We gotta wrap this one up.
All right.
Oh man.
All right, cool. So then you want me to stop and start?
Yeah, yeah. We can stop and start real quick.
All right, cool.
Yeah, this is the life that we chose. All about goals, all about getting the go. Pedal to metal, we drove. Head to the hills, I wanna get me a bow. 2020 be the vision depicted the growth. Before I could get on the road, look at the level she rose. Cheddar, 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 check me out.